A federal judge ordered the Trump administration today to immediately fund SNAP for the month of November. Good evening, everyone. I'm Carolyn Johnson. Colleen is off. But tonight, the Trump administration said it will appeal that ruling. We're closing out day 37 of the government shutdown. It has been a period marked with chaos and confusion over food assistance benefits, furloughed workers, and government employees who continue to work without a paycheck. Also, starting tomorrow, the FAA plans to slash the number of flights at major airports because of the record-long shutdown. Those airports include LAX, San Francisco, Oakland, Chicago, and New York. All of this happening just weeks before the holiday travel season. NBC4's Robert Kovacic joins us now to break down how this will affect passengers. Robert.
Carolyn, we are talking about 40 of the country's busiest airports, including LAX, ordered by the FAA to have airlines reduce the number of flights. It's going to start at 4% flight reduction tomorrow. That's about 760 flights nationwide. And then it's going to ramp up to 10%, capping there on Monday. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says with air traffic controllers not getting a paycheck and many not showing up to work, the Trump administration is prioritizing safety, even if it means chaos for flyers.
My mission, number one, is to keep people safe. That's one. Number two is gridlock with the traveling public.
These are things that are hard to explain to our families. How do I explain to them that, mommy is having a hard time putting food on the table for them?
So what we're doing here at NBC4 is looking for ways to make your journey a little less stressful if we can. To start, check TSA and airline websites for delays and when exactly you should leave for the airport. And also good advice right here from AAA. If you are able, carry only a carry-on luggage. Do not check your bags in. If you only have carry-on luggage and you don't have bags to check in, it's going to allow you to be more flexible to possibly hop on another flight. Now, we are also following new developments regarding the 42 million Americans that are relying on SNAP benefits. A federal judge criticizing the Trump administration today for only partially funding the program and now ordering the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP benefits for the month of November. In his ruling, the judge saying the harm facing Americans across the country is, quote, irreparable. But NBC News has confirmed the Trump administration has filed a notice to appeal this ruling. And while all of this is being played out in court, take a look out in Orange County. 310 families there won't be getting SNAP benefits and are now waiting in line at food banks and rationing what is left on their cards.
We know that on average, the average card holds about $450. And when you think about that, for families that are already living under-resourced and on the edge, where there is no margin, that $450 a month is make or break. So a lot of families are coming to us to make those impossible decisions: food or rent, food or electricity, food or medication.
While all of this is happening, President Trump hosting leaders from 5 Central Asian nations for a working dinner at the White House this evening. Vice President Vance there as well. And when they took questions, VP Vance said, you are going to start seeing, quote, very real travel delays, and you are going to start seeing, quote, SNAP benefits run out. Vance says you can blame the Democrats for shutting down the government, but Democrats, emboldened by Tuesday's election results, are not backing down on their demands. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois saying tonight this about his Democratic Party: we are as unified as we have ever been. And so the longest U.S. government shutdown in history only continues. I'm Robert Kovacic. Carolyn, we'll see you tonight at 11.
Sounds good, Robert. See you then. Well, certainly a lot to discuss here related to the government shutdown. Joining me now, Loyola Law School constitutional law professor Jessica Levinson. Thanks for your time tonight.
Absolutely.
Let's start with the SNAP benefits. Tonight, Vice President J.D. Vance called the ruling absurd, and now the administration, as Robert mentioned, is appealing. So how long will that process take?
Well, I think all the judges right now are cognizant of the very real harms to families. A lot of families, as we just heard, depend on these benefits. These are families already living in poverty. That's a long way of saying that when judges are weighing the benefits and burdens of putting something like a judge's ruling that these benefits need to be paid on hold, that what would happen to many families in America is something that would weigh heavily on the judge's mind. So how quickly could people get benefits? We know that a judge today in Rhode Island said to the Trump administration, you have to pay this money now in full. We know that there's another judge in Massachusetts who said something very similar. And we know that the Trump administration has appealed. We don't know if those rulings will be paused pending the appeal, but we know in any event, people are likely looking at a delay of weeks and potentially months, at least to be able to get their full benefits.
Well, let's also talk about a Supreme Court ruling today that the Trump administration can enforce a policy that limits transgender rights, specifically on passports. Walk us through the decision by the majority of justices.
So this is a quick walkthrough in the sense that this is one of those emergency docket decisions. So this is not a full decision. This is not a full decision on the merits. Instead, what we have is another one of these situations where the Trump administration loses in the courts below. They lost in the trial court. They lost in the Court of Appeals. And they're running to the Supreme Court and saying we need emergency relief. And the Supreme Court is granting that relief. So what this says is that the Trump administration's policy that people have to use their sex assigned at birth on passports, that can be implemented while this case plays out. We did get a little bit of information from the judges in the majority, and they essentially said there's no problem forcing people to provide this information, just as you're forced to provide where you were born, where you live, et cetera, that it's part of the information that the government gathers.
Okay, but this one not done yet.
Not done.
The court also took up the legality of the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration this week, and that case was heard on an expedited basis. So how soon can we expect a decision on that?
So this is a great contrast in the sense that the tariff case is at the merits docket, meaning that we had 2.5 hours, actually a little more, of oral arguments yesterday. There were full briefings. There were amicus briefs. The justices had a lot of information. When could we hear from them? Typically on a really big case, I would say we're going to hear by the end of June. But because everything has been expedited, I think there's a chance that we could get a ruling earlier, particularly because, as we know, if the justices say that these tariffs are invalid, that President Trump transgressed his authority, they're going to have to find a way to remedy the people who have paid the tariffs. So time is of the essence.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Jessica Levinson, thank you again for your time tonight. We appreciate your insight.
Absolutely.
Now, until the SNAP situation is finalized in the courts, many recipients will be forced to rely on food banks. NBC4's McCollum Medina spent the day with people who waited hours in line for help.
The lines here at St. Lucy's in West Long Beach are long and continue to grow. Some folks have been here for more than 6 hours. We talked to a grandmother who's been here since 6:30 this morning, hoping to get food, and another family who just missed out.
We don't have no food.
That's Vanessa Lopez. She was in the back of the line, hoping there would be enough food left over for her and her family.
Whatever they give us, you know.
But sadly, there wasn't. Desperate, her mom decided to pick fruit off the church's trees.
Everybody has family, you know, we all gotta eat.
They missed out on the assigned numbers that were given when people started lining up hours before the food distribution.
Since 6:30 in the morning.
Grandmother Teresa Huckleby took the bus before sunrise this morning to get to St. Lucy's. In her warm boots, she packed a folding chair and a wagon. She says the family is desperate for food. Her shelves are empty.
It's 4 of us, 2 adults and 2 grandchildren, so we don't have the benefits of our SNAP card. So I'm here to get help.
The help, she says, is primarily for her little grandbabies and her daughter who works but relies on SNAP to make ends meet. Now without SNAP, she worries where the next meals will come from.
It makes me feel less of a person, and I feel like I'm taken from others.
So many here say they feel the same way, a level of shame that they have to resort to food lines. Many asked us not to show their faces.
We didn't get to prepare for this. So this is like, how you say, like a blow like a low blow.
St. Lucy's gets most of their food from food finders as well as donations. Most are eggs and produce, and there's a lot of packaged food that is near their sell-by date. It's still all good and just in time for Teresa. Filling up her wagon to the top. One of a lucky 60 families helped out today.
The wait was worth it.
Grateful, she says, for the food, and still hopeful that the families that missed out today will still get the help they need.
It could help others. It could help others.
And now with the federal court ruling potentially bringing SNAP back by the end of the week, that's certainly great news for those families that missed out today, and good news for Teresa, who hopes she doesn't have to come back here next week. In West Long Beach, I'm Akala Medina, NBC4 News.
And if you are in need of food, head to our NBCLA app. We have links for a county-by-county list of food banks in Southern California. You'll also find information there on how you can donate.